Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to or watching the return of the Co-op podcast. It's been a while since we've been on here chopping it up about video games. We've been obviously doing a lot of coverage of other things, from TV shows to movies and things of that nature. But some things in the gaming industry are happening, and we are here to talk about it. I'm of course here with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Rich?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
What's up, indeed? And I'm also here with Koalition founder Anthony Frazier. How are you doing, Anthony?
It feels good to be, back home with the fellas on the co-op. We had some legendary moments on this podcast, so it's already a pleasure to be back and chopping it up about the industry with you guys.
Oh yeah, man. I really like. I always like reminisce about those old days, like when we were just starting the co-op and everything. Like all the, we had some like insane arguments, like back and forth, heat exchanges. Like it was legendary stuff, man.
Yeah, I think what's cool about our site, man, was that we had people who were like, everybody had their favorite console, you know what I'm saying? But we weren't like a bias site. Like we didn't have like an Xbox crew or PlayStation crew. It was back and forth. Everybody basically had their own crew, and that was dope about it.
Mhm.
Indeed, indeed. And yeah, like since it has been a while since you've been on the show. I know you're doing major things with your company, ABF Creative. So do you want to just take some time to just let everybody know, what you've been up to, and what you've been working on? And of course, we are going to be talking about one of those projects later on in the show. But just give a brief, summary of some things you've been up to lately.
Yeah, man. So I started ABF Creative. I spoke about it a few times here on the show, but pretty much started a multicultural podcast network and production company. So what we like to do is we like to use a data-driven approach to production. Using AI, using machine learning, to create the best kind of podcast for people of color, man. And so we got two sides to our business. One side where we're creating original podcasts with dope ideas, original stories, and all of those different things. And then we have another side where we're just doing work with larger companies. So one of the companies we are working with is Ben and Jerry's. They're one of our clients. Essence Magazine, Audible. We have an Audible original coming out tomorrow. So, just giving you guys, an idea of what it's like to run this kind of company. But, I wouldn't have been able to think this was possible without, the kind of storytelling that we were doing here at the Koalition early on, man. So that's what I am, man, and that's what we do. And I'm excited to dig in today, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm also very excited about the stuff you're doing, man. And I see you winning awards and everything. So, you know, you're
Yeah,
making major moves out there.
Yeah,
So,
we won our first Webby Award this year, man, for the African Folk Tales podcast, which is a podcast for children, storytelling podcast. So we're excited about it, man. So Black women, children, we breaking into verticals and categories that you know aren't deemed cool or aren't popular, and we want to continue to make some waves in this area.
okay, well, yeah, big props to you for everything you're doing, and of course, we will get back to that later on, as we will be talking about one of those projects, the one that launches tomorrow.
Right.
So, until then, before we get into the gaming stuff, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr., we do a podcast together every week covering, power and everything. So the people have seen you, but you want to just give a bit of an update of what you've been doing and, whether you've been playing anything recently or, just let the people know.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. I've actually been very, very busy. Obviously, I have some things going on at work. But outside from that, I have been playing quite a bit of games. I have been playing Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Fantastic game. I will highly recommend. If you never played Ghost of Tsushima, this is the version you probably should play on PS5. Um, Aside from that, yeah, I've just been checking out a lot of the stuff on Game Pass. 12 minutes, um, recompile.
You beat 12 minutes?
No, I haven't beaten it yet. Um, that endless loop can be a little aggravating at times.
Yeah, I played like 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and then I went on YouTube to see what it ended like.
Oh, well, hey,
I was
listen.
done.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that because, and it's unfortunate that it is set up that way, but it had me intrigued with the acting. The voice acting is excellent. The cast is great, but that endless loop, you get a little frustrated with the puzzle trying to solve certain things.
I was really surprised. I wondered, like, they definitely spent a lot of the budget on the actors. Because the game was, the graphically, I knew the style of the game that they were choosing, but for me, the animations were still bad. Like, the guy walking around was really, really blocky, walking around. I'm like, yo, this is a top-down game. Like, it shouldn't even look like this. Like, and one guy was saying they did motion capture for this. I'm like, yo, you don't need motion capture for this. Like, I see games that don't have motion capture that move better on top-down than this do. So to me, I just thought, that whole style for the style that they were choosing, I think, next time around they should have a better budget, better animations, and maybe even a better story. I don't know, I won't ruin it for anybody that hasn't, played it, but the story was something that just, it didn't end in a kosher way. So I'll say that.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I do. I may try a few times again to play it, but yeah, I was tempted to look at some videos online. So we'll see how long that lasts. It's a game where you obviously have to have the patience to figure out everything if you want to. Otherwise, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff you could be playing. But but as far as what else I've been playing, yeah, I did play a little bit of Madden NFL. Yes. All I will say is this: the NBA 2K series is still the best, and even how they handle the my player stuff, it is better. Now, does 2K have the issue with microtransactions? 100% yes, but people are going to continue to spend money, so therefore, it is what it is. But the 2K, when it comes to the single player story modes, they do the best job of any other company that I have noticed. Because the Madden face of the franchise mode has a lot of issues, a lot of repetition, a lot of stuff. And then when you look at how they handled my career, and then the other thing is, if you're playing on a next gen console, you would expect the experience to be a little bit different. With NBA 2K last year on next gen, it was a different experience because of how they handled certain things with the single player and even the gameplay. There was some things that were different about it, as well as they had another camera view that you can use. With Madden, it just feels like this is the same experience. It doesn't really feel like it's a next gen version. It just feels like, yeah, this is a version that will play on the older consoles, and it does. But they haven't really gotten ambitious with the game yet, so it's not. I mean, if you're a football fan, you'll enjoy it, obviously, because there's no other options you have for football games. But they are not. They have a long way to go to be at the same caliber of what 2K is doing for NBA 2K. So that's just my opinion. But
Fair enough.
but yeah, but I mean that's pretty much all I've been up to. And as you already mentioned, Gary, yes, we have been doing the Power of Podcasts. We have a lot of other podcasts coming. If you are a fan of Stars and you see all the shows they have coming, we are going to be covering a lot of those shows. So don't worry. For those of you that are subscribed to the channel and you like the fact that we cover those shows, don't worry. We're going to continue to cover those shows. We just want to talk about some things today, gaming wise, because there's a lot of stuff that has happened with Gamescom and some stuff worth talking about. But yeah.
And to our gaming audience, we will have some more frequent gaming stuff as well in the future as more of these games start to come out and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna try and get back to playing like modern games because I've been stuck playing like old games for a very long time. So So yeah, so that's pretty much my update for today. Is like I just been playing a lot of old stuff like Overwatch, Final Fantasy 14, Grand Theft Auto 5, just quick pick up and play games, just because I've been working on so many different things. So you know, I haven't played any like of the newer things, and of course I don't have a next gen console yet. I have a PC, so I can play some of the new stuff, but I just haven't been in like the state of mind to pick up a new game, because it's like I always feel like when I start a game, I'm like, okay, am I gonna spend the next 30 hours playing this game, or am I gonna do some other stuff that I want to do? So I think I'm just a different kind of gamer, and I'm picking and choosing the stuff I want to give my attention to at the moment. But I do miss gaming, so I want to, I definitely want to pick up some of the stuff that's coming later this year, especially because a lot of the Microsoft stuff that we've seen is coming to the PC, on Games Pass. So I'm gonna try and take some time to check out some of the stuff.
I just want to make one comment for you, Gary.
Mhm.
It feels to me, and we'll get into this soon, it feels to me like next year is the year where you're going to want to have a console, because a lot of stuff has gotten delayed. A lot of the bigger games are coming next year. At least that's what I learned from the Gamescom show today that we're going to talk about. It's 2022 is the year. 2021, if you can get one in the next couple of months, that's fine. But 2022 feels like that's the year where there's a lot of things that you have to look forward to.
Exactly. And let's just get right into it. That's the perfect segue right there. So
hold up, I've been playing something. Hold on, let me
jump.
Oh, okay.
Go my updates,
go
man. I've been on the sticks. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah. Let us know. I thought you were done already because you said 12 minutes and everything, but I didn't know you've been playing more stuff too.
Nah, man. You know what? 12 minutes, man. I've been playing Judgment.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing Judgment. I love Judgment. I can't wait to finish. I'm literally on the last part of Judgment right now. And so I'm looking forward to that because I know I think it's like what's it called? Final Judgment or something like that, or Next Judgment. That the next
Lost Judgment.
Lost Judgment. Yeah, Lost Judgment comes out. I believe next month. This like September, right?
Yeah, I think it is September.
Yeah, so I'm excited about, I seen Lost Judgment. I'm like, yo, this shit fire. Like I'm looking at all the new things Yagami can do and all of that. So, I'm like, yeah, I'm really big in the Judgment universe. I know it's like a Yakuza spinoff for the most part, but I bought Judgment, by the way, so that's another thing too. Like I'm finishing Judgment. I've never finished a game on Game Pass. You know what I mean? I think that's important to say. And that's not to say I don't see the value in Game Pass, but I definitely feel like I want to finish Judgment because I paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So something to think about. But I think
is it because like there's so much choice on Game Pass? So it's
it's a lot of choice, man. I get indecisive. I'm like, I'm playing this, and then I'm like, nah, I ain't playing this. And then I'm playing this, and I'm like, nah. Then I was like, I want to play Outer Worlds, and then I was like, nah, I ain't playing this shit. Like, so like I just be getting like, and then I'm like, I want to play Ori, and then I'm like, nah, fuck this. I'm not playing Ori. Like I'm indecisive, yo, when it come to Game Pass, yo, because but that's the thing. I know that's just me. There could be somebody out there who feasting, like, yo, he finishing games, he get on there, rocking out, playing the next one. But it's still beneficial for a person like me who, I can't go out all the time and spend my money on, all these different games because to me, I don't have the time. So I'd rather just have Game Pass versus spending. Like I just saw PlayStation, like a new game coming out on PlayStation, $70. Like, yo, who got time to spend $70 all the time? Yo, that shit crazy. Like I ain't got time for that. They paying for Psychonauts too. I'm not. They paying for like, what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I'm just making it. Another thing I wanted to mention for Gary, and I don't know if we're gonna get into this later, but he talked about him not having a next gen console. So
Right.
I think Gary's definitely going to be in the Xbox ecosystem sooner rather than later. The xCloud is basically workable on old systems, man. And that means you'll be able to play next gen games on a base Xbox One. Like that's crazy to me, and so you'll be able to do that, play it on your PC in the cloud. Even if you don't have a powerful PC, now you could still play next gen games with a e-machine. I don't even know if they make e-machines still, but I don't know if anybody even know what that is anymore, but like e-machine was the cheapest computer you could find. So you could go get an e-machine and you could literally play Xbox. So I think Gary, man, you definitely gonna be playing that new, at least Xbox next gen, a lot sooner than you play PlayStation ones. Until you get that PS5 in your hands, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, I might not be playing as much at the moment, but I'm still a real gamer at heart. So like, if I am going to like want to play Xbox games, I'm gonna get the hardware. I'm gonna get the Series X. Like, if I want to play the true experience and everything. But xCloud is great because it does allow more opportunities for people who do have the lower tier hardware or the last generation hardware. I think that technology is great. And that's what we've been waiting for. So, yeah, that's excellent.
There's only one problem with that statement.
What's that?
We know that Gary loves Final Fantasy, so when Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 comes out and it's only on PlayStation 5, he will get a PlayStation 5 for that.
Day one.
Really, if you really want to get the console, you can get it. Like my brother wanted a Series X. And I literally downloaded one of them apps where they tell you notify you every time it's in stock somewhere. I saw it was notified that we was in stock on Microsoft.com, and I was able to get him one. I think about a week and a half ago. So if you want to get a next gen console, man, you try hard enough, you'll get it. You'll get it. You're gonna be watching it very closely, but you'll eventually.
Yeah. My thing is right now it's like I don't want the distraction. I want to focus at the moment because I have a lot of stuff I want to work on. But once I'm finished working on certain projects, I'm gonna game hard as a treat to myself. So yeah, that's when I'm really looking to get back into the next gen. It'll probably be like end of this year, start of next year, once more games are out. Because right now there isn't that much that intrigues me. But after seeing some of the stuff we saw today, I'm starting to think it's about that time, next year for sure. So, but Anthony, was there anything else you wanted to talk about that you've been playing?
I mean, I'm looking forward to playing Psychonauts 2. That's a game I definitely want to finish, so I am gonna start that. That's about it, man. I haven't been playing much of anything else outside of Judgment. Hades. I've been playing Hades.
Which Hades?
Hades.
Oh, Hades. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I've been playing Hades. So I rock with Hades. I'm still I've been seeing people online like, I'm on my third playthrough, fifth play. I can't beat Hades. I don't know what it is. I just keep losing. So like, I don't know, man. I'm like, what are they doing and I'm not doing? And I think some people got it on God mode and they just lying. Like they actually made it through on some other shit. But like, Hades is definitely a good game. I could see why it won a lot of awards. It's easy to pick up and play. So I've been rocking out with Hades. I'm definitely going to continue to rock out with Hades for the next few months. So definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to hit you up for some time management tips because I don't know how you fit all that stuff in and you're winning awards and everything over here. It's like crazy.
It's a good team, bro. I got a team, man. But I mean, honestly, it's really just the weekend sometimes, man. Like when I got a good Saturday night, sometimes, and you got to give yourself those breaks too. Like I give myself those breaks. Like I give myself that grace. Can I work 24 hours, 365? Yeah, I can do that. I could do that. But to me, especially after the COVID-19 hit and some people lost their lives and people got flashes of their lives during it. I hate to turn sideways, but to me, it's like enjoy life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like do things you enjoy now. Like don't wait until later to enjoy things, man. You know, and that to me is why I take time out to play video games now, because I want to take time out to do things I enjoy, man. You know, why not? You know, so
that is important, and you said a key word there, and you said team, and that is very important. So yeah, for real. But yeah, so shall we get into our segment now, or did you guys want to bring up anything else you've been playing? Rich, anything?
Oh no.
Okay.
I think we can get into the segment.
Okay, yeah. I know the people are waiting. So let's get right into it. So Gamescom kicked off yesterday with the Xbox showcase. You know, Microsoft had an Xbox stream, which was hosted by Paris, and I'm sorry, I forgot the nice young lady's name. But shouts to Paris for being a personality over at Xbox now. But yeah, so they showed a list of things at this stream. So we're basically going to go around and just give our takeaways of what we thought. You can throw in good and bad. Just little things that stood out to you from this stream yesterday. So I guess I'll kick it off because I don't have a lot, but let's see here my notes. So of course you see I'm wearing a Forza t-shirt here. So so I'll start off with that. Like the Forza game looks great, man. What can I say? Like the environments look amazing. I think it's like driving games are definitely a great way to showcase new hardware. I think it's one of those genres of games that really does show off the hardware, because there's so much motion going on, and then the graphics, the environments, and everything like that. So, and all the special effects and stuff. So it's looking great, and I'm sure it's going to perform great on the Series X hardware. And as for the controller looks great. We were talking a bit about that before, and I think this is a new and exciting lane they have with these controllers, like these special controllers that they're doing, and then allowing people to kind of design controllers and everything. So that's good. They probably didn't need to spend that much time talking about it. They could have maybe just shown a quick picture and moved on. But yeah, great. Still, it looks great. And of course, they showed another great controller, which we'll talk about later. But yeah. And I don't think, like, nothing in this stream was really for me. I'm gonna be honest. Like, besides Forza, there wasn't really much else I was excited for. But it's it's good to just keep an eye on Microsoft and see what they're doing, the direction they're going in, and I think that's really what I was watching for. I know they showed the flight sim. It looks cool. It's just not for me. Dying Light looks like a cool game. It's just not for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like I think it was slightly on the underwhelming side, but I didn't know whether it was just me and what I prefer, or if everybody else was satisfied with it. So that's why I'm kind of excited to get to you guys to get your takes on this. On this stream. So I'm going to go to you next, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. So let me know what you thought of this Xbox stream that broadcasted yesterday.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just say this now, Gary. I'm surprised you want to go to me next, because I have a controversial opinion on this particular show.
Okay.
But that's okay. If anybody has any complaints, they know they can comment, and you can address me directly in the comment. But I will say this: I did not enjoy the show. Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, that to me was the main highlight. I am a Forza fan. I've played all the other Forza games, so I don't have to question whether or not I want that game. I know that I'm 100% going to want to get that game. The controller is dope. I like the controller. I like what Xbox is doing with the controller. I do agree with what you said, Gary. I would not have spent too much time because they had a trailer and then they had a discussion about the controller. And I was like, okay, you probably don't need all that information. And then the fact that, and we'll get into this a little bit later, there's a couple, I think my main issue with the broadcast is that it didn't feel to me like they really wanted to highlight a lot of the first party games that they have that are in development. There's a lot of games we've heard about and we've seen at the last Xbox show they had. And, I was just surprised that we didn't get any real updates on some of those games. We did get an update regarding Halo Infinite, which we'll get into a little bit later, which I think is fine. I don't know why that announcement wasn't made at this particular show.
But I know why. Sense.
But I think we all know why that is, because Jeff Keighley, this guy, his whole career, he's had opportunities where he's gotten exclusives and he's been able to report on that stuff. Obviously, they have a lot more faith in Jeff Keighley announcing this stuff and the attention and the hype it would get rather than announcing this stuff at their own show. I mean, that's at least what I feel, because Halo is the game that I think a lot of people are looking forward to, and I do want to highlight that because last week was when we got that announcement from 343 when they confirmed that campaign co-op and Forge are not going to be available when Halo launches, and that it's coming later. So because of the fact that they gave that update last week, I was definitely expecting them to address Halo in the actual Xbox Gamescom show. But the fact that they didn't, and they instead waited for it to get spoken about today at Jeff Keighley's show, I think I did not like that at all. But
I'm gonna keep it real, man. It's looking shaky for Halo. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Well, it's looking worrying.
I agree with Gary, man. The way they treating this game is like they really want to just it. They know it's gonna it's gonna underperform. Basically, I'm just gonna say that.
Oh yeah, no, I agree because they did announce today at the Gamescom show that they announced the Halo console. You saw the controller, the limited edition Series X. It looks cool. The controller looks cool. You know what the problem is? That console comes out on November 15th. When does Halo come out? December 8th. So you're launching a new limited edition console and the game doesn't even come with the actual console. Stuff like that tells me they are not confident that this game, it just doesn't feel. And then the whole thing about last week with the campaign co-op and the Forge not being available, a lot of people was very angry with that. And I saw a lot of videos, people saying they should delay the game, which I think, yeah, because a lot of people, when they play Halo, at least from in the past, when I played Halo, I was playing with friends. That is a major component of playing the campaign for some people. So I can understand somebody being a little angry about that, but we'll see what happens. But just to round out my final thoughts on the Gamescom Xbox show, I mean, a lot of stuff I saw in Game Pass, I will obviously check out because I have Game Pass. It's just that when you think about a show and that this is like an opening show for Gamescom, I will be expecting a lot more stuff to be shown, especially from Microsoft, because this is their final show of the year unless they decide to have another show. So I have to say I was very disappointed. Will I check out the stuff on Game Pass? Obviously, because I have Game Pass, but am I genuinely excited for anything I saw at that show? Only Forza. That's it. All the other stuff, I'm like, yeah, I don't care about the gunk. It looks all right. I'll probably check it out. Crossfire X, we didn't get any update, and I wanted to get an update on that because I know that Remedy is working on that story. It's a first-person shooter. That is one game I wanted to update on. I didn't get any updates on. And some of the other titles, obviously it just a little disappointing. But again, it's just my opinion. What they're doing with the cloud gaming and all the other stuff is awesome. But yeah, I just thought they could have done a lot more with that show. To get people excited for what was coming with Xbox.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But Anthony, what's your take on this Xbox show? I know you watched most of it. So
I thought it was boring, man.
And why is that?
I was just bored, man. I felt like I was watching the History Channel at one point, and it was doing the cannonball thing, and I was just
Age of Empires,
yeah, man. I mean, they can make Age of Empires on console. They just bullshitting, because you can still require keyboard mouse on the Xbox. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can still make it playable on the Xbox. They just being something. And I think that, for me, I mean, Forza looks great. I just hope I don't get bored with it. You know what I mean? Because I think the allure does wear off. Like, oh, this game looks good, and oh man, this shit looks crazy. I think graphics, and that's the reason why it's like, a lot of people focus on graphics, but some of the most played games of our generation right now have shitty graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there has to be a combination of good graphics and just a good game. And I think that's why Sony does so well with some of their games, because, they're good graphics and they end up being like really good, great experiences. And so for me with Forza, it has to be a fun game. To me, the last Forza, it wasn't very fun to me. Like, it looked great, it looked cool, but it wasn't really fun. At least to me, that's just my opinion. I do think, like Gary said, the controllers, I think Microsoft definitely need to figure out what they can learn from the sneaker culture and apply that to like controller culture. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I feel like, controller culture is a thing right now.
Yeah.
And they need to embrace that community even more. And I think the only way to do that is to openly allow modding, openly allow like designers to do their thing, and make custom controllers that can be sold or shared or on some kind of marketplace or something. Like, embrace this controller culture, because it's a thing and it exists. As far as Halo, I really like this. I agree with Rich. I agree with some of the things you said, Gary. I'm gonna throw out a wild theory on Halo, and and it's super wild, it's super far fetched, but it kind of makes sense. I think what's happening is Halo took so long to get done, and now they rebuilt the game from the ground up at this point. That's the reason why it's taking so long to release, is because they essentially rebuilt Halo.
Yeah.
The graphics that they had before, it looked like shit. They were like, yo, we can't come back out with this. Like, and that's the reason why it's taking long. Like, they upgrading graphics, they making it look, and clearly they took some help from the Koalition on how to make a cross-gen game look really wonderful. So I think that's what it is. But in order to do that, there's a lot of crunch involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I believe happened is maybe Jason Schreier probably has a juicy ass story to put out about the crunch 343 and Microsoft put in, and they're like, yo, he waiting for the release of Halo to put that shit out. And so maybe they're like, yo, let's push this shit to December. Because we need more Xboxes sold. We need, and then when Christmas happens, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about what Jason Schreier got to say. So I think that's my wild theory. I think like Jason Schreier, probably wants to hate on the game. Probably wants to take a crap. But overall, I'll say this: Halo, it looks good. Despite the pushbacks, despite all of those things, Halo looks really good, and it looks like it's going to be fun to play. And honestly, I think everybody's going to forget about all of this stuff. The moment the game is out and people are playing and tournaments start to happen and all these things start to go up, people are going to forget all of this stuff. Like, they ain't even going to think about this no more. They're just going to play Halo and they're going to have fun. So I have nothing to say about any other game that was showcased. at the thing. The Humble Bundle games look interesting. I mean, I was playing, what's that, Dodgeball Academy or something like that. I played that with my girlfriend. Academia was like Dodgeball Academia, I believe. That was pretty fun. I mean, they have, those are small quirky games. Game Pass, pretty much good for Game Pass type games. And to be honest, a lot of people miss that Game Pass don't have to just be played on that big screen. Like a lot of those games could be played. Like I have the Backbone for my phone. I have the Backbone Peach, which turns your phone into a controller. I could easily see myself playing like Dodgeball Academia on there or one of those smaller games. Like Game Pass is unique in that way. Like, it's on the screen. It's play anywhere. They really starting to live up to that play anywhere moniker. And so, yeah, I love it. That's it.
That's dope. Yeah, I mean, great takeaways overall. I mean, there just really wasn't a lot, I mean, there was a lot of talking at the show, which is great. I do like when they do these little deep dives on certain things because they appeal to, like, here's the thing, right? During these streams, when they do these deep dives, they appeal to a very, niche audience like that likes these certain games. And if you're into, Top Gun or Flight Simulator or, any of these other games that they did the deep dive on, that's great for you. But then, the people who are not into it, it's like, we got to sit there and wait until, the next segment. And
so I'm going to counter that argument. And while I do think those are great segments, I feel like why not do those segments outside of Gamescom? Like, why not do that kind of stuff outside of Gamescom? Because to me, and I get it, they get all the attention right now, so let's utilize this attention.
Yeah, I'm not against having those. Like, I think those are key, those are necessary. But like, it's just you've got to pace the actual stream better so that it appeals to more of a variety of people. Because
I mean,
you're trying to appeal to the masses in this 1 hour,
right.
1 hour
at
plus.
This point, we know the kind of people who watch these streams. Like, let's not all kid ourselves. We know who watch these streams, and you know what they watching for. Like, what I mean? I feel like Age of Empires and all these different, kind of super niche games. I mean, I feel like those have their own time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, and it's to me, like, I like the Age. Funny enough, I actually like that cannonball thing. I just didn't like it in the show.
Exactly.
Like, I actually liked it. That's the kind of stuff I like watching on TV. In my mind, I was even thinking, like, damn, they need to put more of this stuff out. Like, as like a YouTube series or something. Like, like, invest in a really big YouTube series, put this stuff out. I would watch that joint all the time. But I just didn't think it fit in the middle of a game's showcase. That's what I felt like. I didn't feel like it fit there.
Yeah, you know why I think they do it though? Because they do stuff like this and throw it up on the YouTube channel, but it's just not everyone knows about it. So it's like if you put it in the show, then everyone knows about it, and then from there they might go back and look at the other stuff.
Right.
So I think that's what it is. But at the same time, you have to understand who's watching the stream and what they're watching it for. So it's all about balance, I guess. And that's probably a very hard thing to do, to balance a stream like this. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to them, man. I want to give props to Microsoft for being consistent though. Like Sony pretty much went missing. They do their own shows now. They pretty much don't really rock with a lot of these E3 Gamescom type things anymore, where Microsoft they take advantage of that. And so I give props to Microsoft for at least being consistent and really just having a year-round moment, update to the games and what's going on. And I guess they can afford to do so now because now they're actually releasing a lot of games. When you got something like Game Pass, you're going to need to be talking about what's going on at least 3-4 times a year.
Yeah. Exactly.
Whereas Sony does it not? When I'm reading the forums, a lot of people are getting mad and upset. Oh, how come Sony ain't got a conference yet? You know, we don't conferences. But Sony don't have a Game Pass service, so they don't need to consistently update and keep subscribers happy. You got to remember, when you got a subscription service, you got to keep subscribers happy.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to keep them happy is to let them know what's coming out. Like, you got to get people. So yeah, Microsoft is going to naturally have more shows because they got to keep their subscriber numbers up.
Mm-hmm.
But the forums don't understand that. The only thing they see is, oh, Microsoft got more going on than Sony, but that's not necessarily true. You know, like they don't understand that.
Yeah, that's very true. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I just will make a comment. I agree with a lot of what was said, and that is, and I do have to agree though that Game Pass, like I said, I didn't enjoy the Xbox Gamescom show, but Game Pass has been great because just the idea of thinking that I can download 12 minutes and then a week or so later, I can download Psychonauts 2. And I mean, so yeah, because they've had a steady stream of releases now for the last couple of months. Yes, you can say some of these games are also on PC, but they're getting the console ports to the Xbox, so they have content that's coming, and first party stuff is going to start to come in as well. So I think Game Pass is fantastic service, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff. May not have time to check out everything, but just to know that you have an option is a very good thing.
Yeah, man. I think that I could play it on my PC too is only an argument that, or a side that a lot of hardcore gamers take. You know, I think, PC gaming has become more popular over the last few years, but not in the way people think. Like, PC gaming has become a lot more popular because of games like Fortnite and, all those different, multiplayer games that people play. Not because, I get to get Game Pass. like that's not why PC gaming has exploded. And so for me, people like, Gary is the exception. Like, most people play video games in their living room. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, when I go on forums and people say, well, I can get this on the console, I can get this on the PC, I can get this. No, they can't. They lying. They just saying that just to say it. It's a small percentage of people who really, because if that's the case, everybody should be subscribed to Game Pass. And everybody isn't. Every person who's a quote unquote PlayStation fanboy is not subscribed to Game Pass. They're not, because they can't. They don't like Xbox. So saying that you want to play it on the PC instead, that's all fib. It's all count. You know what I'm saying? They just don't like Xbox. So they don't want no part of Xbox. They don't want the PC part. They don't want the console part. But most people like, and I for one, like you said, it's content, Rich. It's content. Like, the fact that these simultaneous PC Xbox releases are happening, clearly something happened in the back end that nobody's talked about yet, where they made these PC games easily portable. And Microsoft wins so much by having the Xbox controller being such a compatible controller with the PC that most games that these PCs come out with, they're already built for console. Like, how much do you really have to do except put it in a different compiler? That's what it looks like. They're not. They're not.
It has the buttons and everything, like, all in there. Like,
it's all there already.
So you can play with the controller.
Like, they did it. They found the way to get more content, and that's like, these PC releases, bro. Like, they found the way. So, kudos to them.
Indeed. And so let's get into the Halo stuff specifically, because I did have another point to make about that. So it was announced that Halo Infinite will officially release on December 8th, 2021. So, you know, we already briefly talked about this a little bit, but I just wanted to, you know, kind of build on the topic a bit more. And I want to say what my main concern is for it, for this game, right? Because I know, you know, Anthony said that, you know, when people actually get the game, it's probably going to be fun and, you know, people are going to enjoy it and everything. But, and I'm sure, you know, there will be people who enjoy it, you know, the campaign and everything like that. But my main fear for this game is that, you know, when you launch a game that isn't finished and still has more content to come and more features to come, it can go very bad because, you know, if this thing doesn't end up satisfying the player base or the fans of Halo day one, that means they then have to wait for these features that they really want, like the co-op, you know, campaign. And you know, what are the other features that won't be there? The
Forge multiplayer.
Forge multiplayer, and anything else?
That's it for now until
So
they're going to be
so the
updating that stuff periodically every quarter. But that stuff is not coming until 2022. The campaign
and
co-op and Forge.
is it the main campaign that, like, is it the full campaign that you're getting as well,
Yeah,
or is
yeah,
it
but
in parts?
but you can only play it in single player. There will not be a co-op option at all until
Okay,
they release that update sometime next year.
okay. So yeah, I'm like, my main concern is just, you know, whenever you don't get the full package day one, it means people have to wait for certain features, and during that process of waiting, you could potentially lose the players that are loyal to the game because there will
Oh
be
yeah,
other games coming out, and you know, and those players who drop off, they're gonna drop off with a bad taste in their mouth. So
I just want to make one comment. There's another game out right now called Splitgate. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen the videos or you've heard about this game. It pretty much is like a combination of Halo and Portal. That game is doing extremely well, and it's not
mm,
even fully out yet. It was out in early access, but it's
mm,
on. I mean, that game is it has it's a pretty popular following now. So I think people will
yeah.
definitely choose to play that instead of Halo, or at least until Halo Infinite comes out. At
Yeah,
this point,
and let's not forget as well, there's a huge esports scene full of FPS games such as Valorant, Call
hmm
of Duty, that game you mentioned, Overwatch is still an esport, you know, so
hmm
like there's a lot of competition out there. So it's like, will Halo have the same impact that it used to? Because back in the day, Halo would like shut down, you know, everything like when it released. Like that day was Halo Day, like, and for the next month or whatever, like people are playing Halo, like that's all they're playing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I think
is that
that.
is that going to be the case for Halo Infinite?
I mean, honestly, I feel like Halo's still gonna have a big impact, but I think if everything went according to the way Microsoft wanted, it would have been bigger at launch.
hmm
Like I think at launch, this could have been
You
humongous if
mean
it was the game everybody wanted. And at launch, this if everything went according to plan, and Halo released when the Xbox Series X released, man, I think that would have been just as huge
yeah,
uh, as all the things we're talking about. I think it's still going to be a big release, just maybe not as big as if it was coming out when during the launch.
yeah,
Um, but that's the thing. We got to learn how to read Microsoft's success now. It's kind of hard because just yesterday on the stream they said State of Decay has 10 million players.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? 10 million lifetime players. Let me rephrase that. That means 10 million people over the lifetime of the game. So I just want to
right.
make sure I said that.
So not
Um,
active.
right. We don't know what the active look like, but with Game Pass, it's like, Microsoft only has, they're the only ones in control of the numbers of how good a game is doing. It's just like Netflix. If a movie, I remember they said, oh yeah, 20 million people watched, the Ava DuVernay movie within the first like 2 weeks. That's a lot of people, who watched that movie. And so Microsoft has those kind of internal numbers. So we can't tell what the success of Halo is going to be. Are they going to release console copies out to the store? Yes. Are they going to sell lots of them? I don't think so, because most people are going to get in on Game Pass. And so it's kind of hard to see what Microsoft's success look. You can't judge them the way you judged them in the past. It's hard. It's hard to do that, and I know many people still want to, because I'll be on a message board and they say, oh, PlayStation dominating the sales charts this today. But I'm like, that's kind of irrelevant when it comes to Xbox now. Like,
yeah,
there are millions of people playing every day on Xbox. That doesn't mean it's unsuccessful. So
that's true.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
yeah, any thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, I agree with I pretty much agree with everything that was said. The only thing I will say is, yeah, I agree. We'll probably never really know how much that was sold. We definitely know though that 343 under a lot of pressure with this game. It feels like, because I recall we spoke about this when Xbox had the E3 show, and the fact that they had a release date for Starfield, which is a year away. They told you the exact release date, and then when they get to Halo Infinite, holiday 2021. That was a concern up until today for me, because I thought, if this is coming out in 2021, don't you think that we should be seeing some of this stuff? And then today they showed some footage from the campaign. It was not gameplay though; it was the cinematic stuff. So I think that maybe Microsoft feels as though they need to get this game out now because people have been waiting for it. But I really wish that if it's not ready, I don't see what the issue is to just delay it and have everything in there at launch as opposed to updating it later.
How long has this game been in development? No, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm being like, I'm really legitimately asking, how long has this game been in development?
I'm not sure of the exact number anymore, because I believe what you said about the theory about that they had to restart. I 100% believe
they
that
definitely rebuilt this game, bro. Yeah. They rebuilt this game.
Because then they brought in the other producer to get to oversee the game. So yeah, they definitely started this over again.
Yeah, and maybe the story is still the same. Maybe they can't maybe those things are still there. Those bones are built, but I definitely rebuilt the graphics on this game. This is definitely not. When you look at the latest screens and all of that, this is definitely not the same game that we saw last year. This is not the same game. It's not. It's just not the same game. Like, nobody could convince me that that's the same game. Like,
oh yeah, they did a lot to revamp it.
Right. It looks way better. And like Rich said, they just need time. They need time, bro. Like, but they can't push it back because the PR from that be out the crazy. You know what I mean? Like, because I think that's what it is. They don't want that headline to just say, this game was developed for 10 years and but honestly, who cares? If it comes out and it's 10 times better than whatever, like, the haters are gonna talk, man. The only people who really the haters are gonna talk. You know what I mean? It's whatever. Let them talk.
And the other thing is, I think 343 was also still working on Master Chief Collection, and we know when that launched, that had some issues. So they've actually was still doing stuff to that over these last couple of years as well. So I think spending a lot of time on that, trying to fix that, and then maybe didn't spend quite as much time on Halo Infinite, and that's why they needed to probably put that aside and focus on that. And I hope that this is not going to be a similar situation where now they're going to continue to make updates, even past the two things they said that are not going to be available at launch. But it kind of feels like it is going to be that type of situation. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I think I don't think there would be a huge backlash if they did take their time and wait, and delay the game longer, because like when Cyberpunk came out, I think that was a big wake-up call for a lot of gamers, and a lot of people realized that it is better to wait until the game is truly finished than have it, rushed out to meet demands or whatever.
What if the game is getting pushed back?
That's possible.
Hey,
Yeah,
it could.
December 8th is such an interesting date.
Yeah, because what's funny about that? You look on the calendar. That's like, I think, on a Wednesday. It's not even games don't normally come out on a Wednesday, so that's a very random release date.
Let me tell you something. If they want to push this game back, all they gotta do is show Hellblade 2 footage, and nobody would care.
Yeah,
that's what it is. If you gotta have something big to counter.
Prop up something else,
Right, man. Like, they'll be okay if they decided, yo, we gonna push this back. They just gotta have something big to show. Like, yo, when Hellblade gameplay, they show some Hellblade gameplay that look crazy, look like better than any Sony game that ever came out, kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, nobody gonna care about that pushback.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a few threads on the internet, and that's it. Like, that's it. But people gonna be talking about, oh, did you see that Hellblade 2 gameplay though? Yeah. Like, that's what people gonna be talking about.
Yeah, for real. So they also today they also showed the Halo limited edition Xbox Series X and the controller. So I wanted to know if you guys had any thoughts on that, because me personally, I think both of them look amazing, the controller and the console. And we know, Koalition alumni Edward V. He actually already pre-ordered the console, the Halo Series X. So, a lot of people were excited about that.
Ed better bring his ass back. Yeah, we're talking about
yeah, we're going to bring him back for sure. But, yeah, what do you guys think about that, though? Go ahead, Rich.
I think the console is dope. My only complaint is, why the hell would you release a console with no game? Because the game is not coming out for like another couple of weeks after the console drops. So obviously for those, I know that it's not really anything that's new to the industry, because you've seen people release a limited edition version or a collector's edition version of a game, and then the game doesn't come with any of the stuff that they have to go along with it. So it's not anything that's new, but in this case, I just think it's very weird to release that console and then the game is not coming until a couple weeks later. That's just a little weird to me. But yeah, the console looks dope. I'm not going to buy that because I already have a Series X. But yeah, it looks dope.
You ever thought about trading in your Series X and getting that? Like, you might be happy to wake up and look at that every day,
Well, here's the problem, Gary. We still have an issue with shortages, because right before we started recording, I got a notification that limited edition Xbox Series X is already on eBay in auctions. So
wow.
People are already flipping the system to try to get a profit, because it's sold out everywhere. And our very good friend, shout out to Weapon X, who was in the chat, he tried to get an Xbox Series X. It was gone within 5 to 10 minutes of it getting posted on some of the stores. So it's too tough.
We live in a crazy era, man, because these bots that like automatically, pre-order stuff and then resell it, like, that's crazy. Like, we live in crazy times right now. But Anthony, what's your thoughts on the Xbox Series X limited edition Halo with the controller and everything?
I think it looks cool. I mean, I gotta wait until I see like these custom Xbox Series X's in person to really give my full opinion on them. Like, I just feel like this. I just see online renders all day and no real like everybody. It's because you know what? It's such an easy console to throw a graphic on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just throw a graphic on the PlayStation 5. Like, with this console, you can literally just throw a graphic on there. So, like, until I see an actual new one in person, I don't know how they look. I'm gonna be honest. Like, nothing has really caught my eye because all of them look fake. they all look like they came out of Photoshop. Until I see one in person, I'm not going to be able to grasp, the dopeness of a custom Xbox. So,
Yeah, I respect that because you do want to like quality check it and everything. See how it's built and everything. Like feel the materials and the patterns and everything. So yeah, I understand that part of it. But just going off of the image alone, like that controller looks amazing. Like I would get that controller. Like it
Yeah,
looks dope.
yeah. The controller with the gold. Oh no, that's the other one. That's the elite one. Um, but yeah, the controller, the gray, like the gunmetal one. Yeah, I saw that one. That was pretty fire. Um, like I said, Xbox Microsoft this controller culture, bro. Like they gotta embrace this, man. This is a new treat it like the sneaker game, man. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so yeah, let's get into more stuff that was announced today at the Gamescom Day 2 stream, the Jeff Keighley stream and everything. Jeff Keighley, he's it seems like he's taken over all of the gaming news announcements. Like he's got a monopoly right now, like because it's like everything is running through him. Even E3 can't really get their shine anymore because he's doing his Summer Games Fest and everything. Like so shouts to Jeff Keighley, man. But yeah, so there was another stream today, and we're just gonna give our takeaways again on this one. I will go first because I don't want to have too many. Um, Obviously they I forgot what the very first thing they showed was, but
Saints Row.
the that was the first thing.
That was the first. Yeah, that
Okay,
was the first
I,
announcement.
I thought there was something before that, but yeah, Saints Row was when I started paying attention. I was like, wow, they're finally rebooting this game. It is still made by Volition, right?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so same developer and everything, which is great. This series kind of has a controversial history because there was some really great games. Saints Row 1, Saints Row 2. At Saints Row the third, it started like people started to kind of think they were pushing things too far with how silly it was getting and everything. Um, but I still enjoyed Saints Row the third, and I enjoyed Saints Row 4 too, even though it was so wacky and so like weird and everything. I still kind of just enjoyed the gameplay of it, and the different puzzles and things you could do in that. Like you were basically a superhero in that game, so it was kind of fun still. Um, but yeah, so they're bringing it back, rebooting it, all new look, new characters, new city. It's set in the southwest somewhere. It seems more of like a like sort of like a desert, kind of city, like surrounded by desert, I think. So yeah, I mean, all new look, new technology. I'm kind of excited for this. GTA 5, in terms of like the criminal open world games, they've been killing it for like 10 years now almost. Especially with the online, people buying up shark cards and everything. They've been making a lot of money on that. So I think they need some competition, especially because everyone's waiting for GTA 6 and we still haven't heard anything. So I think this could be the game that really, forces Rockstar to get back in their bag a little bit and, cook up some new stuff and innovate. And I want to see how Saints Row innovates as well. As far as the tone of this, it's like it seems a bit in the middle because they were showing some quick gameplay clips, and there did still seem to be some wacky stuff in there, but it also seems like the story itself is a little more serious in tone than the previous few games that we got. So that's good at least. And yeah, I can't wait, man, because of course Cyberpunk, it did some things okay, but it was a big letdown in terms of open world storytelling and everything. So I'm looking for the next big online sandbox, and I'm looking to see how that genre innovates in the new generation. So yeah, I definitely want to learn more about Saints Row, and I'm excited that it's coming back, and I'm definitely excited that Volition is still behind it too. Because it could have easily been given to another studio. So that's good to see. And then, of course, we have the new Marvel game, Midnight Suns. This is like a strategy kind of game, like XCOM, right?
Yep.
From what I'm understanding. And I think this was good for Disney and Marvel to do, to kind of announce a new Marvel game, because now Marvel's Avengers has such a bad stigma behind it, because it was such a flop. It was definitely not what we were expecting from an Avengers game. So they have the chance to really make up for that with this game. So I want to see more about it. I know the XCOM games have been fairly popular. People talk about them being great. I kind of want to try one of those games myself, just to see what all the hype is about and everything, and then kind of get an understanding of what we can expect from this game also. So I know I have one of those games on Steam. I just haven't played it yet, so I might give that a try, just so I understand the type of gameplay that we'll be getting a bit more. But I definitely am excited. It was good to see characters like Wolverine as well. So yeah, that was good. And then my other takeaways were we already kind of discussed the Halo controller and the Series X. I kind of I was kind of like zoning in and out of this stream. I didn't watch it all the way through.
Yep.
But yeah, it's this stream was definitely 10 times better in my opinion than the Xbox stream yesterday. I saw the short Turtles clip. What's that game? It's Shred or something?
I think it's Shredder's Revenge.
Shredder's
Something
Revenge.
like that.
Yeah, I really appreciate games like that. I grew up in the 90s, of course, so those games like that, throwback games like that, I'm all over it. The Streets of Rage 4, I love that. So this game, I'm definitely getting that. And
it's made by the exact same developer, and you'll be happy to know, Gary, it's coming to only PC and Nintendo Switch for now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So no love for Xbox or PlayStation?
I think their priority now is to finish it for Switch and PC, and it's coming sometime next year, because initially it was supposed to come out in December, and then they changed that to now 2022. So they don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming out next year.
Okay, so I'm very grateful to be a PC gamer right now, then, because I'll be on that day one. So yeah, that was another little highlight for me. But I'm sure you guys will bring up some games, and I'll chime in on that too. So who should I go to first here? You want to go, Rich, or should I go to Anthony?
Let's go to Anthony. I don't know if he said I don't think he could have a lot to say about the show.
I don't, man. I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
I do want to say I did see the Saints Row trailer. I think what Saints Row is gonna do is fill that thirst and that need that Grand Theft Auto is leaving open. If you see that, I think they said it was coming like early 2022.
Yeah, February. Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not even giving GTA a chance. They want to be the GTA of next gen, and they want to beat them to the punch. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a next gen game yet that has like that GTA Online component. There's nothing like that yet. And Grand Theft Auto's still, making it money, but there's definitely a thirst for what's next. And I think Saints Row just want to fill that thirst, man. And it is what it is. Hopefully, I mean, everybody's gonna play GTA when they come out. You know what I mean? But until then, Saints Row has an opportunity to establish themselves.
Yeah. I just was going to add, I agree with that 100%, because I know that 2K right now, they are going to release a remastered edition of all the GTA games. They did announce that that was what they were supposedly working on. Plus, they're working on GTA 5 for PS5 and Xbox Series X, but no one, ain't nothing said about GTA 6.
Are they working on that?
Yeah.
That's coming out this year.
Remember they announced it at the Sony the PS5 reveal event.
Wait,
Yeah,
there's another
that's coming out.
GTA 5 coming out?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming out later this year, I think, actually.
Well, yeah, if it doesn't get moved to next year, it's supposed to still come out.
That's what I'm saying. If Saints Row sees this, like to me, Saints Row got an opportunity here, man. I mean, GTA, while I enjoy it, is not the kind of game I want to keep playing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, that's just me. You know, I just don't feel like. Now, if they say we're coming out with a revamped GTA Online, that's different. But they're talking about literally the same campaign over and over again. Like, who's going to play that campaign?
It's the online. Like, trust me, like, because I recently got back into GTA 5, right? And the online is completely different from like 2013 or whatever. Like, they've added so much new content, and it's addictive. Like, you can literally start your own business in the game and manage it, and you know, you collect your stock, bring it to the warehouse, you go and sell it, and people can kill you while you're trying to sell it and stuff. Like, there's so much in the game, and it's addictive. Like, so it, trust me, it's like people are going to be all over it once it hits the new console. And that's the reason they keep bringing it on every new console, is because it makes so much money. Like, so they don't want to lose that money of the people on the new console. But they do need to innovate. They need a new engine. They need a new, you know, story mode. And basically they need a GTA 6. So
they are working on that supposedly, but I mean, that game is not, that's going to be a ways away from coming out. It ain't coming out no time soon.
Yeah, I think they are working on it, but yeah, like, just to bring it back to Saints Row, the reason it's so good is that now this kind of forces Rockstar's hand a little bit, because if Saints Row comes out and it has like a sick online, that is gonna, you know, it's gonna directly affect them. So they need to, you know, they need to hurry up with GTA 6 and you know, make sure it's dope and everything. And remember, Dan Houser left, so
yeah,
is the game, you know, is it going to be the same now? Who knows?
That's a good question. Only thing I will say about the Saints Row is that I did see it is coming to PS4 and Xbox One also. I wish it was only coming to the next gen consoles, but I know they can't leave that money on the table, so it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, Anthony, was there anything else that you know, you caught that stood out to you from, you know, today's stream?
That's about it, man. I mean, you guys made the comment about Jeff Keighley. You know, my man's got pretty much a monopoly on game shows, on video game intro shows, pre-shows, conferences. Like, he pretty much carved himself a good lane. Good for him.
Yeah, like, the reason I respect him for that is because, you know, like, and Rich will know, you know, because we were out there at E3, you know, a few years ago or whatever, and we got a chance to see E3 changing, right? They were starting to cater more to influencers and streamers more than the media, and this was something Jeff Keighley himself wasn't a fan of. So what he did was just, you know, he did his own thing. Like, he pulled out of E3. First of all, he said he wasn't going to be there. This was before COVID, you know, and then, you know, he just did his own thing with the summer fest, and then it became such a big thing between that and the Game Awards that he started to be the go-to person now for, you know, these big announcements. So I gotta respect that, you know, how he did that and everything. Especially because we've been seeing him so long as well, you know, from G4 TV, you know, up until now. So, you know, I respect that grind. So, for real. But so Richard, it's your turn. You know, what stood out to you from this stream today at Gamescom?
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep mine a little short. Also, yeah, the Saints Row thing. The one thing I do want to say about the Saints Row thing, as long as I have been in this industry and just playing and watching and covering video games in general. Now, anytime I see a game is announced and it's a cinematic trailer and that's it, there's no way I can get excited about that. I have to see some type of gameplay. So I do want to give a shout out to Volition and Deep Silver for actually showing gameplay of Saints Row, because we already know when we saw that cinematic trailer, is no way in hell this is how the game is actually going to look. So I wish a lot of other devs would do that. Obviously, I think I don't want to speculate, but if it was up to my personal opinion, I think whoever are the investors behind these games, the marketing, they're the ones that are focused on, we need to have the cinematic trailers, the presentation, we need to have this certain look and appeal to get people excited, which is fine, but you also need to show the consumers what they're actually going to be playing at the end of the day. So I was glad to see that they showed that, so props to them for that. The game you mentioned, Gary, the X-Men game, did say they're going to have a gameplay reveal for that on September 1st, which is next week. So we'll get to see how that game actually looks. I am an XCOM fan, so I am definitely looking forward to that. And I saw that Blade is also in the game as well. So I haven't seen Blade in any X-Men game in a while. So I definitely want to see what that's all about. And our very good friend, I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Carl Daniel, because when he saw the trailer, he made a comment. He said, this is probably how Marvel Avengers was supposed to look, but because 2K is involved, it's going to be a lot of microtransactions. So this game definitely going to have some microtransactions in it for sure, because 2K is the publisher. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, a couple of announcements that they did make. They did announce that Horizon Forbidden West is coming out February 2022. So that game, which everyone thought was coming out this year, actually pushed to next year as well. It seems like a lot of the games they showed, they're coming out in 2022. They're not coming out anytime soon, and that's good. That's a great thing, because you give the devs as much time as possible to actually work on the product. Everyone will be happy at the end of the day. Trying to think if there was any other highlights that I noticed, paid attention to.
Quick question. Did they show anything new of Horizon Forbidden West, or did they just basically give a date?
No, they just gave a date. They didn't show anything. Okay. They just gave a date. Halo, yeah, we got the trailer, another trailer of cinematic trailer. I'm trying to think what other stuff stood out. I mean, I had the same issue you had, Gary, whereas I like that Jeff Keighley does these shows, but I think they are entirely too long. And then you have the musical performances like he does with the Game Awards show. It's like, I understand the love and the appreciation you have for the industry and what you want to show people, but I do feel you need to also condense that stuff down, because everything does not need to be in these actual showcase events.
Like what are we doing now? Like, are we giving out like mid-year awards now? Like, what's going on with that? Like...
Oh yeah. They gave out awards to media and different stuff like that at the Game Awards. So, I mean, like I said, I understand and I appreciate, that you want to put a spotlight on all the games. Like, and everyone loves to see the game reveals, but I just think some stuff doesn't necessarily need to be in the show. And when people spend a lot of time talking about a game as opposed to showing it, I immediately lose interest. I just want to see the game. I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear what your vision was for this game. That's awesome. But I want to see what the game looks like. So they did show the Call of Duty game that's coming out. That looks pretty good. That's coming out in November. And yeah, there's a lot of other games they showed here and there. A lot of little some indie games. It's like a good mix of games. But overall, what stood out to me was a lot of the stuff that I had already mentioned. So I mean, to me, my main takeaway is that 2022 is the year that there's actually going to be a lot of games coming. You have Forza. I'm going to say you have Horizon. You have whatever Xbox releases, if some of those games actually do come out next year. And you also have the Zelda game, Breath of the Wild 2. All of this is coming out in 2022. So it seems to me like it's a very stacked year next year in terms of games. And that's something to look forward to. But overall, I agree 100%. This was way better than the Xbox showcase. It's just that it's a lot to have to get through when you hear people talking about the game and then you see the trailer. When sometimes I just want to see the game trailer, and that's it. If it's a game that I'm interested in, I'll know right away after I see the trailer if it's something that I want to check out. But
right.
Good show overall.
Yeah, good show indeed. Definitely, the better of the two that we talked about.
Mhm.
But so yeah, is there anything else gaming related you want to touch on before we get to our main discussion? Either of you, like any other gaming takes or anything, real quick. Anthony.
No, not really. I mean, I think we talked about the next gen, and to me, I think we're about to. I just think we're in for like one of the best generations of gaming we've had in a while. Simply because Xbox has shown up to play. Xbox has shown up to actually do something, and I just think that that's gonna make the whole industry better. I think it's gonna force better experiences, better games out of PlayStation, and it's gonna force the same thing out of Nintendo. Maybe, I don't know. Nintendo's kind of like doing their own thing, but I just do feel like we're in for a great generation of gaming. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Xbox. To me, it feels like 360, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I get that same feeling that I got with the 360. I don't feel like I got that with the Xbox One, man. I think in the beginning of the Xbox One, sure, but then it kind of went away over time, man. Like, so I feel like they got that vibe and that energy back, and hopefully they maintain it. PlayStation never really lost it, if we being honest. And yeah, so I'm excited, man. I think we're gonna get a good generation.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think it's looking like it's on the up, and like Rich said, I think next year for sure we're gonna start to really see more content on these next gen platforms. And then in my personal opinion, I believe the year after that, 2024, that's going to be when stuff starts to really look like next gen. Because at the moment, we're still at that crossover period where stuff is being built for, previous gen and, next gen. But I think the year after is when we're going to see the stuff that was built for next gen in mind, specifically on the new engines and everything. So, yeah, that, I'm looking forward to all of that. So, yeah,
I agree.
It's definitely on the up. It was a bit slow, at first, especially like the first half of this year. It's been very slow. That's why I haven't got a console, because it's like, there's no point in me buying one right now. But yeah, it's slowly on the up. But what was you gonna say, Rich?
Yeah, and I say that there are some games coming next year that are only coming to next gen consoles also, although it is not really a big list for that. But there are some games that we do know about that are coming where it's only coming to PS5 or Xbox and PC. So we'll see. But yeah, it is on the up and up. Um, Looking forward to seeing what happens. But with all that said, I still have been enjoying my time on the consoles now. It's just not a ton of new games that specifically take advantage of the console. Like with Ratchet and Clank, that was made specifically for the PS5. Um, and that is great. I want to see more of that. Like games made specifically for, like I said, I understand they have to still cater to PS4 and Xbox still has to cater to, other stuff. But when I hear something is only coming to Series X and PC, then I like, okay, that's excellent. That's what I want to see more of at some point. Maybe another year or so.
Yeah. I said 2024. I meant 2023. I think that's when we're going to see, the actual next gen, engines and everything like that. So, yeah, can't wait. But yeah, so let's get into our main topic today. And so, Anthony, of course, he talked a bit about, ABF Creative, his company, and the work that they're doing in the podcast field and everything. And, they're working on some amazing things. They're winning awards and everything. And this has presented the opportunity for Anthony to finally, tell a story that he's been wanting to tell for a very long time. I believe it's like over a decade now. And this is, a story that, I remember, him kind of bringing up to me, back then when we were, working on the site and everything on the Koalition. And it's good to see that, now he's in position, he can really build on this story and tell it to the world, because it's an important story and it's one that has influenced the very gaming culture we've just been talking about right now, So, Anthony, please tell us about Raising the Game, the project that will be out tomorrow on Audible. So, let us know.
Thank you, man. Like you said, man, I remember back when we was trying to get a Black History thing going for the Koalition, and I did some research, and on this site called Vintage Gaming and Computing, there was this interview with a guy named Jerry Lawson. And so I was like, who the hell is this? And they was like, yeah, this is the guy who invented the video game cartridge. And, that caught my interest, because it's like, wait, a Black man has something to do with that? And so it's always kind of been the rumor, since then, that he invented the video game cartridge. And so when the opportunity came to tell a story with Audible, I was like, yo, why not do this? So I actually reached out to Richard and Gary to kind of help lay the groundwork for this series, man, early on. And they were more than willing to jump in and help out. And so, we discovered a lot of things. We discovered, this guy was, his hero was George Washington Carver. But it's so funny, his life kind of mirrored George Washington Carver, because George Washington Carver was always known for inventing peanut butter. But in all actuality, George Washington Carver didn't invent peanut butter. But he also, but he invented all of these hundreds of uses with different, like, peanut oil and all these different things that changed the way chemistry and products and created in America forever, right? Jerry Lawson's story is similar in the sense that he didn't by himself invent the video game cartridge, but he was part of the team that created the first console to use it. And he led that team. And he was one of the people who made the cartridge actually practical for commercial usage. Before it was just something in a laboratory and it would never get passed by the FCC. But, taking it to Jerry, he was able to make it into a consumer product because he knew what people wanted. He studied semiconductors. He studied the industry extensively on what products can work in normal, everyday American homes. And he took that knowledge to his engineering skill and was able to kind of figure out, all right, this is how we're going to do the cartridge. But much like George Washington Carver, he invented other things too. His innovations isn't just with the cartridge. The pause button. We wouldn't be able to pause our games if it wasn't for Jerry Lawson. We wouldn't have, the joystick going in like 6 to 8 different directions if it wasn't for Jerry Lawson. Matter of fact, third-party development, companies like Activision probably wouldn't even existed if it wasn't for Jerry Lawson. And that's the crazy part that a lot of people don't even know. So it was just an amazing journey. And we talked to a lot of people, man. We spoke to Nolan Bushnell. We spoke to Wallace Kirshner. We didn't speak to Wallace. We was trying to speak to Wallace. We couldn't get in touch with Wallace. We spoke to Ron Smith, Al Alcorn, the founder of Pong. We reached out to John McAfee, before he died. You know, he killed himself. But before that, he threatened us.
Yeah. To talk about like let's briefly touch on, because while we were working on this and doing all our research and everything to put this together, a lot of different facts and things came up, and we wanted to, because this is in this series we have interviews and clips that are going to play throughout the the show and everything, the documentary. And so we wanted to interview a wider range of people so that we get all of these stories from people who had firsthand experience with Jerry Lawson and everything. And then we reached out to a bunch of these people. I don't know if I should really mention the names, but some big
let's name them, man. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, Steve Wozniak was one of those people.
Yep.
Who and Jerry was part of the Homebrew Computer Club around the same time that Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs were there. And in Jerry's interview, he claimed to know these guys, and in one instance he actually claimed to have interviewed Steve Wozniak for a job before he was at Apple, and he actually didn't end up hiring him, right? So, we wanted to, get a first-hand account of this, and we reached out to Steve Wozniak. And, what kind of response was we met with, when we did that, Anthony?
I mean, he didn't know who he was. He said, I don't know who this guy is. Here's the thing, man. Jerry Lawson was like 6'5", 300 pounds, black guy, had an afro. And he had a very soft-spoken speech.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard guy to miss, man. Like, this isn't somebody you just forget about. You know what I mean? Like you don't forget about Jerry Lawson, especially if you're in an all-white room. And so, so to me, I thought it was interesting. I won't go further than that. It's just interesting that people feel like they don't know who he is. So
and then when we did later research, we found out that they have been listed on the same events, given keynotes and things of that nature. So they have crossed paths. So it's interesting
it was a very small world. That whole Atari video game world in Silicon Valley, it wasn't large. Everybody knew each other. Mm-hmm. People who worked at Atari knew people who worked at Fairchild, knew people who worked here, knew people who worked there. It was a very small, I would say, industry. This wasn't $1 billion industry that we know today. All these guys knew each other. Like Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, knew exactly who Jerry was. Jerry never worked for him. But he could tell you all about Jerry. He could tell you about conversations he had with Jerry. He can tell you the kind of man he was, the kind of jokes he told. Like, that sounds like somebody who knows who he is because they hung out. They knew each other. He never worked for Nolan, but they knew each other. Right. So it's a very interesting thing, man. It's like, man, you just, you don't forget the only black guy from Silicon Valley who looks like a football player. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't do that.
And we're talking about the 70s where this was rare, for a black engineer to be working in Silicon Valley. So
engineer, I think that's the key word here. Engineer, like Jerry wasn't just some random guy, doing QA in the basement of a company. No, this guy led video game departments. He was an engineering maven. He didn't even have a college degree. He dropped out of school and got straight into making technology for the military.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was top of the line genius, man. And tomorrow we celebrate his life, man, by just telling his story for the first time. A lot of people are gonna know a little bit more details than they've known before. And I think we did a good job. His son and his daughter were a part of it, and his son listened to it, and his son was like, yo, you definitely cover some items that I never knew. So
Yeah.
it's a very very fun project to put together, and honestly, I was so inspired. I'm like, man, what else can we do? But yeah, we'll get to that conversation later. But yeah,
Yeah. And I want everyone to know as well, because we've been working on this for a very long time. We started back last year. Like you guys, like Anthony was actually working on this way longer than I was working on it. When I got brought in, it was already like well into production and stuff. And then once I got there, that's when we started to really flesh it out and everything. And like the people might have seen, because there was a documentary released on Netflix last year with, it was like a 3-minute segment or something about Jerry. And then, during the course of when we were doing our work as well, we saw, more stuff, popping up here and there, most likely because we were contacting so many people. So, probably some people had it in their mind again, and then, more things started to pop up. But yeah, we have
it
been
was very
working.
interesting.
It's been
Very interesting. Nobody was really talking about it. Now everybody talking about it, But to
Yeah.
me, I think we definitely given out the most information. The most centralized information is that as well. A lot of his story is kind of separated all over the internet and in different places. The timeline is never quite right. Nobody really has the timelines right. So the work that we've been able to do, and I want to lift up my brother Rich, man, because Rich was definitely part of the process in the beginning, and Rich helped us lay a lot of the groundwork. So I want to, give my flowers to Rich right now, man. Thank you for that very intricate, groundwork
Yeah.
that you help us put down, lay the foundation. But I say all that because it was a lot of time, energy, and research that had to really put together for us to really get the story right. So that's just something that you won't find nowhere else. And honestly, we feel like a lot of new projects are gonna use our project as a source
Yeah.
material.
Yep.
I believe there's a movie being written right now. From what I understand, there's a movie being written, a script being written. They definitely using that script. I already
Yeah.
know they are. I've been told that they're using our our project as some of the source material for that script. So just this we just doing the work, man, and I'm proud of what we've been able to do. Laying the foundation to more people actually respecting the legacy of Jerry Lawson.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So,
yeah,
and Rich, I had a very specific question for you, but
Uh-oh.
just real quick, that is what I wanted to highlight as well, Anthony. That this is we've given the most amount of detail to Jerry Lawson's story than anyone that anyone has before. Because previously, if you wanted to learn more, you would have to do a lot of digging, a lot of research, a lot of contacting people. So we've done all of that work here, and we've told the story like it hasn't been told, before, like with a lot of new details and new information and everything. So yeah, I'm definitely proud of that, and of course, that much of that success is down to Anthony, because he's been, the it's his baby, this project. So Anthony, we owe a lot of flowers to him for that. But Richard
100%.
also, Richard also, because you were there before I was there, working on this as well. So and I wanted to ask you specifically, Rich, because I know that you and Anthony, years ago, you actually attended,
Yep.
some kind of event about Jerry where you learned more about the story. So I wanted to ask you, what was it like, hearing the story back then about Jerry Lawson, and then, how does it make you feel now that you've been a part of bringing this story to light, in a new way, in 2021?
Well, I want to say, I definitely want to start off by thanking Anthony for, approaching both me and you about joining the project. I recall when Anthony was in the New Me Accelerator program, and I had went down there with him. Shout out to Angela Benton. Yeah, she's the one that started that. So I hope she's doing well. But when we was in that program, that was how we came about this opportunity. Because if I recall correctly, we had went somewhere in downtown San Jose, and there was an event that they were having to just honor Jerry and talk about his legacy. And from going to that event and seeing all the people, it's very fascinating to hear the story. But obviously, there are a lot of questions that you have about how everything came full circle. So to go through this process of, yeah, I mean, we looked at a lot of the same videos, some of the things that were written online, but to be able to actually speak to people that knew about Jerry, knew about his backstory, what kind of person he was like, that really gives you a full perspective on just how great he was to this industry, how intelligent he was as an engineer. You have an idea of some of the struggles that he went through, some struggles in which a lot of us still go through today. So, I mean, I think it was great to just be a part of this. And more so, my thought is it is an honor. Obviously, it definitely is an honor to be a part of the project because you're thinking about not just educating people who are in our same age bracket, but the generations coming after us as well, because some of them probably have aspirations of getting into this industry as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah, you think about a lot of that stuff, and that's why I said I'm really glad, happy that we were all a part of this project, and I hope that people gain a lot of knowledge and insight off the project, and it can be used as inspiration for any goals they may have, or if there's someone that they know that wants to be an engineer, wants to create video games, do anything of that nature, they can look at this as a great source of inspiration and how to get started. So it was awesome.
Yeah, for real. Because the reason this is so important is because like we're living in an age now where a lot of history is getting erased because there wasn't an internet back then.
Hmm.
So a lot of stuff from back then wasn't as well documented as it can be now. And if it is documented online, then it's old newspaper clippings, magazines, and things like that people aren't really going to go looking for. So I think it's important to bring all of these kind of stories to light in a fresh new way and put it into perspective how much people like Jerry Lawson really impacted the industry we have today. So
I,
that's
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
agree 100%. And I was just going to add in, and also the point that, simply put, that a lot of the information that is out here right now, they don't have a full understanding of what exactly his role was and what he did. Because there's a lot of articles we came across where they say, oh, yeah, he definitely created this. We saw that multiple
Yeah,
times.
man. Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. This is straight to the source because
yeah.
we've spoken to people that can tell you exactly what his role was.
I think a lot of people, what's crazy is a lot of misunderstanding of who invented the video game cartridge.
Mhm.
Definitely listen on Audible tomorrow to figure out who exactly did it. But at the end of the day, I felt like there was a very racist undertone to a lot of the responses to the Jerry Lawson memes that will go viral. A
Mhm.
lot of people, will just say, no, he didn't do that. And it was met with so much vitriol, so much anger. Because if you cared that much about who invented the video game cartridge, I don't even see people lifting up those other individuals at all. It's more about putting down this individual. Had nothing to do to lift up those
Mhm.
other guys, but had everything to do to lift down and put down Jerry Lawson. It was a very racist kind of undertone to the feedback when
Mhm.
people saw those. And so who knows what the feedback will be for this. We told a very honest, a very true story. um I doubt it would get that kind of racist feedback, but there might be a lot of people who may feel like the guy who led team that invented the video game cartridge. No, he didn't lead the team. He didn't. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of like pushback on some of those details that paint him in a positive light, because people hate to give flowers to black people, you know. But we're gonna put an end to that, man. We're gonna put an end to that, and this isn't just a story we're just gonna come out with tomorrow and that's it. We're done with it. You know, we're gonna be promoting this for years to come. This isn't something we just gonna brush to the side once something new comes up. This is a story we're gonna continue to use and leverage to inspire, like you just said, to inspire kids to get into STEM, especially children of color.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, and the question I had for you, Anthony, because you are the narrator of this series, and I wanted to ask you, like, how was that process of like narrating? Because I know it's not easy to like. I know we're podcasting right here, but it's not the same as narrating, a documentary or podcast or whatever, like, because you have to actually follow a script and you have to be engaging and entertaining all the way through. You have to keep the energy up, and that's not easy to do. People probably think it is, but it's not. So I wanted to ask you how you found that experience.
Man, it's hard. It's hard, man, because little secret, I wasn't supposed to be the narrator of this. At first when we first was putting this together, a lot of names was thrown around: Lena Waithe, Donald Glover, all these different people, all these different names got thrown around, and then when it all came down to it, they were like, well, you should just do it. I was like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't really know if I'm the right person for this. And, but we had to get this thing done. We had to get out there and start working on this, and looking for a legit host was going to take even longer. And so, I stepped up to the plate, and just, threw my hat in the ring and said, all right, let's just do it. Whatever, but it was definitely a hard experience, man. It looks easier than what it really is. You got to do multiple takes. You got to, and it's hard because we're doing the COVID. Like, I think I would have had a way easier experience if I got a chance to be in the actual studio with the engineer. Instead, I had to do everything remotely. And I think that was the other thing that was really, really hard. We did this whole podcast remotely. Everything we did was the remote. Richard is in Atlanta. Gary is in the UK, in London, in Luton, outside of London, and I'm in New Jersey. So we're literally in 3 different locations, and still was able to, really get this thing done. And it was hard to do that too.
Yeah, I can imagine. I guess, now I can hit you up to do my audiobooks. Like, you can be the voice of them.
Man, I think I'm gonna take a quick rest. I am going to come out with my own podcast soon. I mean, it's called No Pressure. It's already out, but we are going to be relaunching that soon. But nah, I'm good, man. I think I'm going to leave it up to the professional voiceover artists in the world, man, to do their thing.
Fair enough. So, just to kind of cap this off, I want to ask you, what can the people expect tomorrow when Raising the Game hits Audible on, the 26th of August?
Yeah, I just want everyone, whether you're listening to this on the 26th or whenever you listen to it, share it, man. Share this with someone else. If you shared it with at least one other person, then you've done me a favor. Thank you. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't just listen to it for yourself. Share it with one other person. Get it on Audible exclusively. Buy an Audible membership for somebody. I don't know, like buy a credit. I'm working on getting some Audible credits to the Koalition. So definitely stay peeled to the website, because we might be able to get some free codes away, for Audible soon. So, just spread it to your friends and your family. Definitely let the kids listen to it. It's fun, man. It's storytelling at its rawest form.
Okay. So like people might be wondering, like, it's episodic, and so the running time is about 90 minutes, right? All the way.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
an hour and 30 minutes all together.
okay.
About three acts, three main acts: Act One, Act Two, Act Three. So to me, it's like a long form documentary. It's not necessarily a podcast, but it's a 3 act documentary, and you know definitely if you're driving somewhere, or if you can definitely finish it in one day. It's not something that's going to take you multiple days to finish. If not one day, at least 2 days you can finish it.
Awesome. Sounds good. So yeah, you heard it first, in many ways, I mean, this was produced by ABF Creative, but this is also, a coalition thing as well, because you have the founders here. We were all kind of involved in this, even though Anthony took the lead. So yeah, it's great that we all played a part in kind of bringing this story out. And
Yeah, and this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the coalition, man. If it wasn't for, and my ad is Coalition is one of the first, black owned video game websites on the internet. Weren't too many of us back then. And this is definitely, I would say, would have never happened if the coalition didn't exist. So, that's just like you said, it's definitely a coalition project. This just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the coalition.
indeed. Awesome. So yeah, I mean,
Shit, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the coalition. How about that?
yeah, our lives would be completely different if we didn't,
Right.
go
Oh
on
yeah,
this journey,
absolutely.
like, for real. So yeah, I'm proud, man. I'm proud of what you've done with ABF, and then this project in particular. Because I remember you talking about the story back then. So just to see this happening now, it's like I'm proud of it. So
Yeah, we got
congratulations.
more stories, man. Like we need to do a collab with Coalition and tell some other unknown black video game stories, man. Let's make it a thing. It don't have to be on Audible. The next one might, we might release to the public. Let's make it a thing, man. This might be something that you'll continue to get from the coalition, man.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for real.
I'm down for that.
Sky's the limit from here. So
Perfect.
yeah. But is there anything else final you wanted to say, Anthony, before we end off the segment and everything?
Nah, man. Except thank you to the team. Thirst Ball, thank you to you guys. Like I said before, Rich, Gary, your time, your effort, your contribution goes a long way. And then thank you to the team over at ABF, man. Like, without the ABF team, we wouldn't be able to do much of the work that we're doing, man. And so we're doing some amazing things. And like Gary had mentioned, how do you have time to play games and be involved in the industries? Because, I got a great team. When you got a good team and everybody playing their position, the point guard is the point guard, the center is the center, the shooting forward is the shooting forward, then you're gonna win the championship. You know what I mean? And so that's the reason why we got the Webby. That's the reason why it won't be the last Webby. So
Oh
so
yeah.
kudos to the team.
Oh yeah, I believe it. And I've heard some of the other projects you have, the African folk tales, like that's amazing. You have like a whole children's show,
Yeah,
So
we about to build out the category, man. We're gonna have more children's shows, more shows for Black women. We're taking a different approach to this game, man. But yeah, we're really excited about the children's stuff, man, because to me, when it comes to the children's content, it's all about like Saturday morning cartoons, bro. Like I want to bring back that feeling, but do it in a new way. And I think it's just such a new frontier, fresh frontier. Everybody's not doing it,
mhm.
and it's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun. Like I think sometimes we miss, like, people they're not using that word, man. It's like, this shit is fun. Like, I like creating children's content. It's fun. It helps bring the youth in me out, the kid in me out. I like it. I love it, man. That's it. And so wait till you see the new kid project. You know, we definitely doing African folktales, and we want to do other folktale spinoffs as well. But we got a new kid project we actually just sold the IP to.
Wow.
We sold our first intellectual property. You know, wait till you see this one, man. This one's going to be a big podcast that might potentially be a television show or cartoon or something like that. So, and it's in the children's space. So, you know, to me, you know, it's all about just having fun. When you having fun, that's when shit like this happen. You know, when you stop having fun, then that's when, you're gonna be hustling a little bit too harder than you should be.
Right. So. Yeah, just make sure I get that press release when that announcement goes out, man. Because I want to hear about that.
It's gonna be a while before that one come out, but I definitely make sure you get. Actually, it might not be that long. We'll see. You know, you might hear about this in December, bro. We'll see.
Okay.
You know, that's like right around the corner, man. So you might hear about this one before the end of the year. Definitely.
Yeah. And the great thing about what you're doing as well is that everyone is familiar with podcasts. Of course, if you're listening to this, you are familiar with podcasts. And traditionally, it's a discussion, it's a radio show format and everything. But I think a lot of people haven't, thought of the different ways podcasts can be presented. And that's what you guys are doing. You're presenting new ways to kind of, take in these storytelling concepts and everything. And that's what I really love about, the work you're doing and everything, because you're changing the podcasting landscape, and you're changing the idea of what people think podcasts are and what they can be. So
appreciate
props
that,
on
man.
that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, Raising the Game, August 26th. Make sure you head over to audible.com or audible.co.uk, depending where you are, and check out Raising the Game, man. Listen to the untold story of Jerry Lawson. So yeah, that's what it is. And that is pretty much going to be it for today on the Co-op Podcast. We will try to do these more frequently, especially as the big news rolls out and everything like that. But for now, let's just end this off by giving our shout outs. So Anthony, do you have any particular shout outs you want to give out?
Just shout out to ABF Creative, man. That's it, man. Shout out to the team. Shout out to everybody who's listening to the episode live or who's going to be listening later. Much love to you, man. And that's it. You know what I mean?
Indeed. And then Rich, any shout outs?
Oh yeah. Once again, a shout out to ABF Creative. Excellent work on the project and everything else we're looking forward to. Shout out to you, Gary, for being a great host as always. Shout out to others on the Koalition team. Dana Abercrombie, who's been doing a phenomenal job on the interviews. And, we have a podcast we're going to be recording here very soon, but we can't talk about that on this particular show. Shout out to Mr. Adam Vale as well. They've been doing a pretty great job covering the Walking Dead shows as well. But yeah, shout out to everybody contributing to the Koalition, everybody who has continued to support the Koalition. We appreciate all your continued support, and we have more things coming, so stay tuned.
Cool. Yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out to the people who have supported us in the long term, and the people who remember all the work we put in the past, and are still checking for us today, and still listening to these shows, these podcasts, and everything like that. Even some people still supporting us on Patreon, even though they totally don't have to. But shouts to those people, and a big shouts to the whole staff at the Koalition as well. The Throwdown team, Tony and everyone. you know, and Dana, of course, and you, Richard, as well. I always think you're the better host, but you know, I appreciate that you complimented me on this occasion. So
Oh yeah, of
yeah,
course.
and of course, you know, a huge shout out to Anthony and the whole ABF team, including Wanda as well. Big shouts to Wanda. So yeah, that's pretty much it for as far as shout outs go. So yeah, that was our special edition of the Co-op podcast today. We will be back again, you know, with some more podcasts in the future. Co-op podcasts, you know, whenever there's a big thing to talk about, we're going to be here. But if you are into movies, TV shows, we have plenty of content coming to you. If you are watching Raising Canaan, we will be back on Friday with the Powercast to recap. I mean, sorry, not Friday, on Sunday,
Yeah.
to recap, you know, the latest episode of Raising Canaan. So look out for that. And then, you know, we also have the Walking Dead podcast, and, you know, we have the Wrestlecast and a bunch of other things. So hit that subscribe button, you know, and, you know, just send us your feedback no matter where you're listening. We are on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on YouTube. You know, we broadcast on Twitter sometimes, Periscope. So, you know, just wherever you're at, let us know your feedback. Let us know, you know, what you want us to talk about and everything. We appreciate all that feedback. But that is going to be it for today. So until next time, take care of yourselves, people. Peace out.